happening to Ollie, not us.
Now, Ollie's up-leveled his character, but he is still using his 4th level character at the moment. So.
Oh, double whammy.
Right. Sorry about that. Right. We are live. So. Okay. The when we last played, you had the tower collapse. You had fought Agrog Naraz, this 2-headed giant who had fled before the might of your spells and the fact that his home was dropping on his head.
He was a bit singed.
Yeah, and as you approached the ford, you met Yanardin, who demanded the jewel, and as Yazid, I believe it was, held the gem out towards Yanardin, he realised that water was raining from the ground up onto the back of his hand, and letting go of the gem, it kind of hovered, and a water genie appeared before you, huger than Yanardin and extremely impressive, and basically threatened Yanardin until he left, and then thanked you for releasing him, and said that your deeds would not be forgotten. At which point he left as well, and I think that's where we finished. So you guys are now at the ford. The other side of the ford, the path goes in both directions, but towards the left, if you turn left, you head slightly northwards along the river until you come back to Talv.
That's the place we want to go.
Well, we're going to head for town.
Talv. The town.
Yeah,
Sorry, the village.
Talv is the village.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
yeah,
sorry. Yeah, let's head for Talv.
Okay.
Meet up the caravan again.
So yeah, you ford the river, and you walk the sort of mile and a half or so upstream, downstream, to Talv, which, if you remember, nestles where two separate sources join as one river. So it's got its back to the river, and there's a wall with a village behind it, nestled in the fork of the river. As you approach, you probably get about half a mile from the village before the villagers start to come out. Almost straight away, Umar, the guy who's running the caravan, big tall guy, heavily muscled, sort of strides out to meet you with the headman of the village by his side, and he, as you meet him, he calls out, my friends, we thank fate, we did not think we'd see you again.
I shall stand forward and I shall say, we have finished the task that was set before us. We now wish to rest. Is there a place where we may do this?
Yes, come in, and the headman of the village, whose name I've forgotten, says yes, come, and they lead you into the village. There was the previous night, the nights that you've spent there, you've pretty much slept in the open, but they very quickly find a hut for you to go into and try and get stories of the events from you.
Okay, I shall leave. Have we not got a bard? We've got a bard, haven't we?
You do. At the current moment in time, you still have a bard.
So he can do all the story stuff, because sort of like, I don't need to. It's what he does.
You can sing it all along, can't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's oh crap. See, because Liam's gone. I've
Jafar.
forgotten the name of his character already.
Jafar.
Yeah. So Jafar,
Takes his
the
shirt
rest
off
of
and
you
starts singing.
head off to sleep, and he just always a fan of having an audience. Steps up and starts describing the site of the tower as you come over the head of over the head of the hill, and you realise that you're.
It's a long story.
It's going to be a long tale, and it's going to have plenty of
Embellishment.
exaggeration within it.
Does this village have somewhere like a tavern or something like that where we can get food?
It doesn't have a tavern, but the locals will definitely feed you. They've spent the last sort of day and a half on tenterhooks worrying about whether or
Okay,
not you
so
were coming back.
I'm languishly going to sort of like pick at food, and if I drift off to sleep, I drift off to sleep. I'm going to trust the rest of my companions to look after me.
Trusting sod.
You're a paladin. You should do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, alright.
I'll do a little bit of praying and resting and get back to health and the magic and a few other bits.
Unless you're a paladin to the god of pull false tricks on people what fell asleep.
That's why he's got Jafar out there telling the story, is because as long as he can hear Jafar's voice telling the story in his subconscious, he knows he's safe.
He knows he's asleep, yeah.
Unless Barbosa comes and starts messing him around.
So we're gonna have a long sleep here.
Yeah, you guys can definitely get a good night's rest in. You can chill the day away. Jafar tells long stories and
Get all our health back.
goes off. Yeah. You get mechanically you get all your health back. I don't think anybody's got any. I don't think anybody is still fatigued, are they?
I think
No.
I might have been.
If you were fatigued, you now aren't.
Cool.
Yeah, you got. Did you actually get? You got cut down and healed, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you would have had a level of fatigue. So you are no longer fatigued.
Excellent.
So yeah, so you guys spend quite an enjoyable afternoon being fed and moderately pampered. Umar, in particular, is when he thinks that it would be appropriate to do so, is quite interested to talk to you about when you believe the caravan can get moving again. He's obviously it's been it's been already several days delay at the village, which he's obviously very happy about the fact that you've sorted out the village, and in particular his caravans. They're going to be very popular with the villagers, but at the same point he wants to head on towards Hyal whenever you think you can you're okay to travel again.
I think one night of rest and we should be ready to travel the next day.
Mhm.
Anyone disagree with me?
Nope.
Jafar,
No,
probably.
that's a good idea.
Well, Jafar probably,
Yeah.
but me and him can have a big row now. Louis, what was the plan with Jafar in the end, with Liam not being here?
The plan with Jafar was going to be that at some point you guys got rid of him. My feeling was that he's not the most eager person to be into travelling around the place. Although it seems quite exciting.
In which case, I think I have a way to get him out. Him and Yazid are going to have a huge bloody great big row in the morning because Yazid wants to get on, and Jafar doesn't want to move. He wants to carry on telling his tales.
Yep.
So
he's very comfortable. He's being fed peeled grapes by a couple of the daughters of various farmers, and he thinks he might have quite a.
And when he thinks he's going to sort of like hang around, he wants to hang around for a little while, Yazid will insist that anything he took out of the tower, they take with them. Because obviously, if he's not going to adventure anymore, he doesn't need them. And there could be a huge, great big Barney, and I will leave it down to you whether or not Yazid gets what he wants, or Jafar gets to keep anything that he took.
I can't remember whether or not Jafar does took anything out of the tower, but
I don't think he did that, I know of.
No.
not that any of you saw anyway.
No.
Yeah, okay. We can sort that out post game exactly, because we need to work out what you did take out of the tower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay. So yeah, Umar is phenomenally pleased that you guys are going to be going, although somewhat dismayed the next morning to find that you have one empty camel because one of the guys isn't coming. But we have no fate but the fate that is given us, and therefore to question the gods would be foolish. So yeah, he the next morning comes round. The camels are well watered, well fed. Everything's been packed up. Umar gets out this little stone that you haven't seen before, sort of a small, semi-precious stone, not quite a gem, orange, and he holds it up and kind of circles around. And when he's pointing slightly more south than west, it just starts to glow, and he gets out a blanket and puts it on the ground, and you can see a couple of the kind of Ahmed, who's the second in command. He's very, very used to this, but some of the other caravan drivers are. You can see them exchanging glances as Umar suggests that before we continue on our journey, we should say prayers for the continued good fortune that we've had, and ask fate to protect us. And he's identified which way Golden Huzzah's is. So he encourages you all to pray to whichever of the gods you favour, asking for protection for the journey. So it is down to you whether or not you wish to do that.
Any chance to get a bit of praying in is always good. As a cleric. Maybe not so much kneeling down, but definitely going through the motions.
Okay, so yeah, whether I'd like to say down to you whether you kind of go through the motions, completely ignore it, or is there anybody that doesn't wish to utter an appropriate prayer?
No, I'll utter the appropriate prayer.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you pray to Zan. I can't remember which. I'm trying to remember which deity Rashid favours, but
Um,
Sand guy.
No, Oliver, we need to get this right. Princess Naziri, head of all serving women.
Sometimes I think that Simon doesn't value his life very much.
I'm getting that feeling. So yeah, as you guys finish praying, and then Umar comes around with this bowl of salt, and where are we? Starting with Anwar, comes up to Anwar and holds out this bowl of salt and says, "Take some, throw it over your shoulders."
Slowly does so.
Okay, this is similar to the routine you went through before you left Muluk. It is to stop any evil spirits that are clinging to your back coming with you on the journey. So as soon as you've taken the salt, he goes round to Yazid and holds it out.
I'll do the same.
Yeah, Nabil does the same.
I know tolerant, I'll do the same.
Yeah.
Did Rashid do it last time?
I don't know. I don't think we discussed.
Because I can't think that he would.
No?
Nope, he will not.
Albadir, desert nomad,
Let's
not
say
overly
nomad.
superstitious, but no, that's fine. That's fine.
I'm going under the floor. I'm slow to trust members of other races, tribes, and societies.
Fair enough. He is initially quite insistent, but as you kind of insist that you're not willing to do it, he mutters, and you catch him casting a glance at Ahmed, and he moves on to end with going around the rest of the caravan drivers.
Are we back with a deal now?
You are back with Adil. Adil looks at the salt and kind of takes a pinch and throws it fairly dismissively over his shoulder, and is eyeing up the camel, not particularly pleased with the concept of getting back on. But he does realise that he's not going to be left behind, and he really doesn't have a lot of choice in the matter. So yeah, so if there's nothing particular that you want to do in the village,
No, I think it's time to get on and move on. Unless there's anything anyone really wants to do.
No, as long as we get our supplies and other bits, no.
Okay. So yeah, resupplied. Water on the sides of the camels, and you guys mount up. The other caravan drivers mount up. They tie the extra camel onto the back of one of the pack camels, and head off up the river. So heading out of Talv, the day is fairly clear. You've not left particularly early in the morning, but it looks like it's going to be a decent day. And as you head off to the southwest, let me go there. So yeah, as you head off to the southwest out of Talv, sticking just because it's the main route that people use now, to the east side of the river, to avoid the Tower of Naman that is no longer there. You guys plod up, and ahead of you, you can see the Furrowed Mountains, the foothills that you'll be crossing for a day or two, and then you're going to need to find a pass through to get up into the mountains to the next stop, which will be Mazat, which will probably be about 5 days travel away. So initially the kids follow you out of the village, and continue to crowd around, but you leave them behind within about sort of 20 minutes or so. One or two of them sort of keep running to see how far they can keep up with you, and are probably still with you for the first hour, but after that even they get bored and go back. It's scrubland hills, and the path just winds alongside the river. Can people make for me actually no, don't worry about it. That's always a good way.
Strawberry.
Yeah, so you guys spend the day heading up, and Ahmed comes up to Yazid and starts to ask questions about what the score was with Jafar. And
I should explain there was a bit of a disagreement, and Jafar and I unfortunately had to part ways. He had decided to settle back in the village.
it's sad. It's a pity to lose a colleague so early, and he starts to ask you about where you're from and what your story is and what you were doing in Muluk. He realises you're not initially from Muluk.
I am going to fob him off saying that I'm a what was I? I'm going to say that I was a sage, and I was attempting to improve my skills by studying with people in Muluk.
Ah, a worthy profession. Okay. Right. So the day doesn't really nothing particularly interesting happens. There's the hills do climb quite steeply, and sort of early evening you guys find a campsite for the night, set up somewhere for the camels, and set about working out where you're gonna sleep. Try and work out whether or not it's probably still warm enough that you're not going to need tents. You can probably just huddle around the campfire and you'll be all right. But it does feel it's definitely cooler up here in the hills than it has been. And temperature's probably only about 25 degrees, something like that, in the middle of the day. So it's cooling off. Rashid's starting to feel a little bit chilly. Early evening, it's cooler than he'd expect.
Does he have sort of like a cloak or something?
In my head, I've always seen Rashid wearing a kind of long flowing abba. So
Yep.
that would definitely you can wrap that around you, or go and get a cloak out of your pack.
Yep, he'll wrap that round him.
Yeah. Okay. So what are you guys gonna do about watches over the journey? I'm guessing it probably makes sense to set up some kind of rotor which just over the night's reasonably steady, or
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on a sort of rotor and do what we did before with the genie was about.
Okay, can you remind me what that was? Because I've not got that one to hand. So who wants to take which watch?
We've also got one less man now.
Which watch?
Yeah, so you've gone from 6 down to 5.
5 plus one more person, haven't we?
Plus Adil if
Yeah.
you really want to trust Adil.
So it probably makes sense to put Anwar on his own.
Yeah, fine.
And the rest of us pair up somehow.
Well, Rashida volunteered to take.
Or just
second
run overlap.
watch.
So there's always 2 people on watch.
Okay, so Rashid's going to take second watch, was that?
Yeah.
Okay. Does Anwar want to take first watch or
Can do.
third watch? What do you want to? How do you guys want to play it?
I'll do 4th, I think, because then there's an overlap, which would be better.
Okay. So who's gonna watch with Rashid?
I'll watch with Rashid.
That's it, and I'll
Okay, so then we've got
Yusuf and
3 and 5.
well, we don't have to go at the same time. We can stagger.
Well,
we
yeah.
have- Yeah.
okay. So say if Rashid takes first watch, and then we'll wake Yazid up. Yazid will take a watch, and Yusuf at some point Rashid will go to bed. Yusuf will stay up with Yazid. Then
I'm going to run a sort of rolling stagger. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
then Bill will get up with Yusuf. Then Anwar will take last watch.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so only at the beginning of the evening and sort of
Early
early
hours.
in the morning
Yeah.
will there be
It was a
one
little
person on the
vague,
road.
but lights just come up and going down. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so that first night, there's nothing really. The sounds are those that you're used to. The vegetation is slightly heavier than normal, if anything, but basically kind of a little bit scrubby with kind of clumps of trees and occasional trees. Over near the river, the path's not too close to the river here, but over near the river, obviously the vegetation's a bit heavier. So the next morning arrives. If you guys just want to have breakfast and pack up and head off. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just get on with it.
Okay. So the path passes up. You pass the source of the Sakina. As you're climbing a rise, you can see where it comes out from. And you pass it on your right as you climb up, and so about midday, there's you move from the foothills into probably the lower mountains, and you start to see the pass ahead of you. Already, you can see kind of roughly where you're going to be going for the next few days. Mid-afternoon, there's a large cliff off on your right, probably about 30 feet high, and you're following along that. There's a small shrine, not more really than a shelf and a niche carved out of the rock, and Umar reins up the camels and hunts through his bag and gets some appropriate stuff to make an offering at the shrine. And unless you guys want to do anything, Umar climbs back up onto his camel, saying what good fortune it is that the shrine is there, and that it's a good omen for the rest of the journey. So the second evening comes around. You are really starting to get into proper mountain country. It's definitely getting cooler, and you're climbing quite hard. It definitely feels quite a lot cooler than it has been. Again, very little happens overnight, but you guys get up in the next morning. And the next morning, to us, probably wouldn't feel very frosty. Rashid, in particular, you are definitely feeling the cold. It really hasn't warmed up significantly.
That was kind of the thought in taking one of the middle of the night watches, so we could walk around during it.
Yeah, stamp around the fire quite a lot and make sure that
Have lots of people shout at you, for God's sake, stop stamping around the fire pit. Waking us all up.
So it does feel cold that morning. Can everybody make me a perception or a survival check? Your call as to which.
Perception or survival?
Where did I put my... I had my dice bag and I've now lost it.
She's there.
It's all right, Belle. I'll chalk you up as a 2.
Oh, it's the same on both of them.
Yeah, they're both in
22.
wisdom.
That's
Yeah,
very
never
bizarre.
mind.
Where have I put that?
10.
Well, I didn't realise we were doing virtual reality in Belinda's bedroom. At the
No,
bottom of the bookcase there.
is that what it is?
I think so.
Oh, we're under the
The
bed.
underside of the bed.
We're under the bed now.
Yeah, we're under the bed. What's that she's left under the bed?
What's really confusing me is I can hear her breathing in the background, and I'm wondering what's going on.
Yeah.
She's laughing by now. Simon, what did you get?
22.
22. Okay.
Perception.
That's pretty good. Charlie?
15 of either. It's the same.
Okay. Ollie?
10.
Okay. Has Belle found a dice yet?
Now she's putting a Winch's uniform on.
Yeah. At least we know where she keeps her stash now, under the bed,
Yeah.
under the wooden slats, like.
That's it. So what's Bill got? What's she rolled for this?
We don't know yet. I don't think she's even rolled it yet.
You could use Dice Stream, Belle, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
We
I
can't
don't think
do
she's
that.
listening anymore. I think someone's talking to her, it's from the sounds of it.
Stupid cat.
Oh no, she's talking to a cat. Right, okay.
Oh, there's a head.
If you can't find your dice, you can use Dice Stream. We don't mind.
I'll just get a tour of the bedroom then.
Is she
Sorry.
back?
Yeah.
We spotted where you keep your stash. That's not a problem.
Alright, you know, we could say you've had 4 blokes under your bed now.
At the same time.
Is anybody friends with Sandra on Facebook?
Oh, yes, I am friends with her mum on Facebook. Right.
Excuse me 1 second. This requires more than just a pillow.
It requires a dice roll.
If she runs, she could make it to my house in 10 minutes to beat me.
Have you locked your front door? I would.
Right.
Mr. Clark, do you remember that I know where you live?
Bothered, face. Bothered.
Not right now, it isn't.
Am I bothered? Am I bothered though? Am I even bothered?
I'm bothered.
Well, considering it's not even a present tense, no.
Are you going to roll this dice or what?
Put the microphone down.
I give up on life.
Do you want me to roll the dice for you?
Yes, please. Until I see where I put my dice bag this
You
time.
can use Dice Stream, Belle.
I can use dice.
She got a 7.
She got a 7.
Thank you.
It probably isn't
I-
just a 7.
I don't
What?
think the modification's going to make a lot of difference at this point.
Wow. You say that, but yeah, no, probably not.
Yeah, you're not 5th level yet. Not that that's going to make much difference.
Don't think that, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so you guys break camp and you're heading up. It's starting to get rockier. You can see snow on the peaks of some of the mountains. A little closer to some of the taller peaks that you're now heading towards. Around mid-morning, 10, 11, something like that, Yazid notices there's birds in the sky off to your left, so off to the east. And you're looking at them, Yazid, and pondering, the various kind of biology that you've done. What types of birds these are? There's something about them that keeps catching your eye.
They don't look like vultures by any chance, do they?
No, you're pondering that, but you realise that there's something not quite right.
I don't have I could be bats.
No, they do have feathers. In fact, I suddenly realised But rather than trying to describe them, I can probably find a picture.
No drawings, please.
Do they look like a gag of women from Essex?
No.
She's like, they're
Different from
burnt
your
still, aren't they?
different from your normal take on biology.
You did say birds.
Like,
Oh,
I can't do this. They look. This is where I suddenly go. Actually, even if I tell you what they are, it's not going to. It's not really going to help.
it might do. What are
Charlie
they?
at the very least?
Jabberwockies?
It'll help you. You suddenly realise that while they've got a large wingspan, and they really are off in the distance, up near some of the higher peaks, they look to have a humanoid body rather than
God. Harpies?
From this distance, it's kind of difficult to tell. But you realise that the things you can see, I mean, they're like this tiny off up in the sky somewhere. But there's 4 or maybe 5 of them.
Are
And
they coming our way?
they don't look to be coming directly towards you. No,
Are we heading their way?
no, they're off to the east of you, and
And I'm
probably,
going to attract the caravan owner's attention,
yeah.
highlight these birds to him, say, I'm not sure what they are now, but I think I can make out there's something not quite right about them. I would suggest we give them a wide berth.
Okay, so yeah, Umar looks up and his face pales significantly, and you hear him mutter a prayer to fate under his breath.
Well, I've got a good way of doing this. Can I summon my gen from Camelback?
Yes. Yep.
So I'll summon my gen.
Yep.
Yeah. Ask him to move through the earth and have a good look at what those birds are, if he can see them. If he can get a bit closer.
Okay. It's going to take him a while to get over there to see them, because they are a long way away.
Right.
You know, they've got to be a couple of miles away. I don't know. They're pretty tiny in the sky. But yeah, he can go do that, but you're not going to get an immediate response. So yeah, he looks up and squints as much as he can, as much as you can tell. He looks like he's squinting. And yeah, he kind of, yes, master, and disappears off into the earth and vanishes. So yeah, you continue to watch, and there's not many. You know, you're on the main path through this set of mountains. You need to make it up onto the plateau above. So Umar says,
when he ways round it, we've got to move on, yeah?
yeah, pretty much.
More or less in their direction.
Pretend we haven't
It's not. It's not in the path. Is going along. You shouldn't end up too close to them. But
Okay, well, I will ask everyone in the caravan who has a ranged weapon, a bow or a crossbow or whatever, to possibly make it ready.
Can we also make sure any shiny objects are covered? That way we won't get any flashes from the sun.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, we're thinking of everything.
yeah. No, that sounds good. So yeah, you look around. There's not a lot that's shiny on the camels.
We've got swords and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Ollie, what's a decent long-range spell?
Decent
Miles off, probably not a lot.
Quick look at what
And
the
the
duels
Long range
are.
for looking or damage?
Should I check what
Lightning's
the
100,
duels got?
100
I've still
foot
got.
line. Fireball's 150 feet.
Blimey. Looking at this, I'm beginning to understand why James keeps complaining about this character sheet. You always type it up onto something else, but
Which bolt's only 30 feet.
Yeah.
It's Scorching Ray is 120 feet.
I think, yeah, 120, 150 is about what you're going to
Okay.
get.
Yeah,
Right.
magic missile, firebolt are all about that.
Yeah, that's what I'd have said.
Spiritual weapons only 60.
So, like I say, they're quite small. Because they're probably not quite small, but they're off in the distance, so they're not
So
looking
they look quite
particularly
small.
large. Yeah, there's 4, maybe 5 of them, and by 1 o'clock, when you guys start unpacking to eat lunch, they're a little bit closer. Not majorly so. They're definitely not approaching you, but they're not keeping their distance either. So you guys keep just with the steady steps of the camels. The ground's getting more uneven. You're definitely gaining height. The path up through the mountains is pretty steep. So you work up the hill, and occasionally you can't see them where there's kind of a wall or some big boulders or something. Then you end up getting further up, and yeah, mid-afternoon, they are appearing to be. They look like they're feathered. They look like they're humanoid, but they're feathered completely. With large wings, and sometimes one of them will drop out of the sky and then come back up. But they're definitely closer than they were, but they're not. They're probably still kind of best part of a mile away, something like that, probably. I'm trying to think. I can see it in my head, but I can't get the distance as to what that would actually be. But you can see them, and they're kind of that kind of size to your eyes. So, unless you're doing anything very specific, there's mutterings amongst the caravan drivers. Ahmed in particular comes over, who's kind of second in command, and starts asking you, what you think they are. Do you think they'll attack? Those kind of questions. Just so I know, who has got ranged weapons?
I've got a bow as well as some long-range magic.
Okay, that's good.
I think most of us.
I'm just trying to work out, is it only my voice which is echoing?
No, I just heard mine echoing. I didn't that time, but I did before.
Yeah, that's a bit odd. I'm wondering whether or not it's Charlie, because he's not using headphones.
Is it me? I don't know.
It might be.
Oh well, and then it drops out again, so it's not constant, whatever it is. It might not be you at all, it might just be something on the system.
Turn it down very slightly and see what happens. Go on.
So yeah, early evening comes around, and it's about the time you'd normally look to break to make camp for the night.
Okay.
What do you want to do?
Do we want to camp in sight of them or out of sight of them? Or do we need to camp somewhere we can move away slightly away from the camp to keep an eye on them, but they can't see the camp?
I think we try and camp out of sight of them, because I think if we camp in the area, I think they may well decide to send something after us.
Yep. But we want to have a chance of not going far from the camp to keep an eye on them while we're on watch.
So, I mean, there's a point where there's a kind of large rock outcropping, and if you get beyond that, you won't be able to see them. But you could set up camp there, and then if one of you wanted to come back to keep an eye on them, you could. You'd only be kind of 300-400 yards away from the camp, and you'd be
So
able to do that.
that seems smart to me. Does anyone else want to disagree with that one?
Then we can have a fire as well without them seeing it.
Yeah, okay, we'll do that then.
Okay, so you're going to set a fire as normal, yeah?
I suggest we dig it in a sunken pit if we can.
Yeah, you could probably find somewhere to dig it. It's going to cut down. I don't know that you are audible, Belle. You're definitely not audible.
Nope.
Wow, did you not stay that way?
Oh, go away.
Check the connections on your headset. Check your inline controls. So like that bit. Turn it off and on again.
She's going to sinister mood lighting now.
Keep trying.
No, that's just because of the fact that she hasn't washed her teacup, Charlie.
Hey.
Yeah.
Ah,
How's that?
Oh, there we go.
Better.
Hey! Somehow I have no clue how it got turned off in my settings. Computers.
Yeah.
I blame Simon.
Yes, I'll tell your brother you're blaming him for it.
Of course. That's fair enough.
So, what in particular were you thinking you might like to do? You were trying to say something, and people were talking over you, which meant you had something to say.
Yes. I was very confused. I was like, nope. Okay, I'll be quiet then.
Yeah, it's not personal.
So I was saying that if we've been traveling for an entire day, then it was highly unlikely we'll be able to get out of range of the harpies, for lack of a better term. So we'd be sensible to try and find an outcropping of some type. So we had some aerial defense, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
I mean,
basically what was then said.
Yeah, you could probably make a fire like hard up against the base of this cliff, and find like a little hollow that's dug into it if you wanted to make a fire there.
cooking would be a good idea if we can.
If these creatures have been flying around for the majority of the day, then logic states that they would be diurnal as opposed to nocturnal. So night vision would theoretically not be all that stellar, so a fire would help them as much as it would help us.
It is, though, getting quite chilly.
Yeah.
It's going to be a cold night. It is going to be a cold night. In fact, one of the things I would like everybody to do would be to make me a Constitution saving throw.
For goodness sake.
Was that not a good score then, Ollie?
No, not really. 12.
Oh,
What's Constitution based off? My
Constitution.
It's based off Constitution. Isn't that bizarre? I rolled a 1 and I've got +3.
Okay, well, that's a bit worse than mine.
I rolled an 18 and I've got plus nothing.
I rolled a 6
proficient.
+4.
I'm
Where are we?
proficient and I got 12.
That's completely around the wrong way, right. Right, so Ollie got a 12.
Yeah.
In the Constitution.
Bell got a 4. What did you see get? Sorry?
18.
18.
18, okay. Charlie, what
10.
did you get? 10.
Yes, sir.
Actually, sorry, Yusef.
You're on a roll.
I know. Okay, does somebody want to, probably somebody other than Bell, roll for the bill?
5.
Brilliant roll.
Okay.
I could have rolled better than a 5.
Probably, but
Okay.
he's a
So,
wizard.
okay. So, what I will say is, with the exception of Yazid, who's obviously used to the sea air or something. I don't know what quite it is that's making the difference.
It's obvious that wizards are more manly than everyone else here. Obviously.
Or
Oh, Nabil's a wizard.
Yeah, he really hasn't done well.
It's obviously wizards from Hayal are more manly than everyone else here.
or they have a rich diet, so they have an extra layer of.
You saying I'm fact, Belinda?
No,
Okay, just checking.
I'm just saying there's an extra layer of insulation.
So when you guys are sitting on the camels, it's kind of pretty much all right. When you get off to make camp and start to wander about, everything's okay, but you can feel that everything feels like it's slightly harder work than it should be. When you're moving the wood around, when you're just walking around, you're getting out of breath slightly faster than you probably would do.
I think we climbed higher than we thought.
You are properly up in the mountains now. You know, you've done it's been 3 days of climbing from Talv, and the first half a day really wasn't a particularly steep climb. Yeah, certainly by the time you got to Sakina, the source of the Sakina, it's been climbing up quite hard. So you guys light a fire at the base of the cliff. Does somebody who wants to go back initially to keep an eye on these flying creatures?
I can go back and have a look.
Okay. Make me a perception check. Or if you've got, I keep forgetting the.
I've got 19.
That will do. That's unlikely to go up with either nature or survival. So,
+2 as well.
okay.
Wisdom.
Like I say, you can't make out that much more physically about them. They're still keeping the distance. You are almost sure that they're aware of where you are, and there's a point where actually, can you make me I'm guessing it's just a stealth roll? Yeah, make me a stealth check.
Whoa, that's 18.
Oh, right, okay. So, just a quick check. Yeah, okay. So, you're not sure that they've seen you. You've managed to get cover. You're staying out of the way, but there's a point when you realise that all day you've seen kind of 4, maybe 5 of them, and then there's a point where you spot maybe 7 or 8 of them.
Are they still flying straight at us, or are they just flying past?
It's almost like they're keeping their distance from you. It's almost as if they're pretty much, for most of the afternoon, they've just been keeping about the same distance from you. And it's not like they're getting much closer to you. They're basically they're up there, and what you realise you've probably seen is 1 or 2 of them dropping out of the sky, and then another 1 or 2 coming up, where you thought it was the same set. So there's definitely a group of them together, and so that's kind of what you see.
So, are they in a sort of flock or a pattern, or are they wheeling about, or are they just flying along?
They kind of it looks like they're probably catching. They look like they're catching thermals probably. And just staying close to a couple of peaks. They're not the same peaks that local peaks, not the really high ones in the distance. It's not as though they've been circling the same peak all day, but it's more like they'll circle a peak, they'll circle an area, and then as you move along, they'll kind of follow, running parallel to you. And then find somewhere else that's maybe got good thermals. And at the moment, there's there's maybe only at occasions there's only 3 of them in the air at a time, and then one will spiral down and another 1 or 2 will come up and join them. But as dusk gets on, it's more and more difficult to keep track of it.
Okay.
So as dusk drops out, as dusk starts to get darker, do you want to go back to the camp? Are you going to stay there on your own? Are you going to?
Well, I can see the camp from where I am. I'm assuming I can see at least the flicker from the fire from where I am.
Yeah.
And I can see, and as long as I can see them, because it's not too dark, I might as well stay there.
Okay, so when it gets too dark to see them, what are you going to do?
I head back to the camp.
Okay. So, like I say, you spend an hour or 2, and it just gets darker and darker and darker, and you suddenly realise that while you think you get that point where you're thinking, is that not actually for probably the last 5 minutes I've been kidding myself that I can see movement, and
yeah. I can't see anything while I'm going back to camp. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys stay up.
Right.
Yeah, are you going to stay with the same watch pattern?
Yeah.
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 Rashid will probably volunteer to take the coldest watch because he's the least used to the cold, so it'd be most uncomfortable. He wouldn't be able to sleep through it anyway.
I really want the after midnight watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can
Before
swap
the
with,
sun comes up.
so you can swap with Nabil's probably the best bet.
Yeah.
Okay. So the rest of the caravan drivers, they're all sleeping with a couple of them have got short bows. They're kind of sleeping with their weapons next to them. You can tell that nobody's entirely comfortable with the situation. The mood of the of all of the people is spreading to the camels, and they're not exactly skittish, but you kind of feel that they can feel the tension of the whole group.
Sleeping with burn hours too.
Yeah,
Spitting
but
more.
the chewing the cud, getting ready to spit as far as I can. The night is cold and it feels darker than ever, and there's various points where you suddenly, whoever's on watch will sit up and think, what was that? And then realise that actually it probably wasn't anything. So as dawn breaks the next morning at sort of, I don't know, about 5 o'clock in the morning, something like that, you have made it through the night without anybody attacking you. Does anybody want to go and see whether or not you are still being stalked?
Yes.
Can we now see? Is it light enough to see?
It's now light enough to see. Yeah, you've got greyness of.
Yeah.
It's grey, but it's light.
There's a difference between the horizon, the hills, and the sky. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so when you get to the point where you think, well, do you want to go so that as dawn breaks you can see what you can see, or are you going to say no? I'm just going to hang on and we'll see what happens, and I'm sure it'll be okay. Wait until it's bright enough.
It's not just one. So who's on watch?
Last person on watch is Amber.
Yeah. Who can go, and see if there's still things there.
Okay. Do you want to make me a perception check and a stealth check?
Okay, everything. Oh, I've got wonderful disadvantage on stealth. 2 3s, so
2 3s. Okay, you can see them as you come round the.
And a 3 for perception as well.
Oh, nice.
3, 3, and 3. Well, that's going to be.
Actually, what would you? Oh, you rolled 2 3s for your.
I rolled 3 3s.
Right. Okay. Sorry. Bear with me half a sec. What I am going to do.
Is there a bonus for
I
that?
realised I know where this is on here. No. The bonus is that you get a 3.
Yeah.
And then another 3.
Um,
Freedom. Yeah.
If we roll it again, we get a 6 actually.
you'd begin to wish you'd used dice stream, hadn't you?
Hmm.
No, because it wrecked my rolls then.
Actually, you should have got disadvantage on both sets of rolls.
That's only 10.
I think you did.
Oh well, I rolled it again. I got 6. So
Hey. Yeah, so you managed to spot them. They are still there. They are still floating about. Much beyond that, you're not sure. It's difficult for you to tell with the light whether they are closer, further away, about where they were. You come around the headland and you see a couple of them take off. Whether or not that's because they realised you were there or not, you're not sure. But yeah, they're still there, just kind of catching thermals and floating. Not really quite close enough to make any differences. So if you guys want to break camp,
Yeah, we'll shout at him to come back to breaking camp.
Yeah, break camp and see where we go from there.
yeah.
Okay.
But
So
have we got a mini plan from our leader as to where we're going on a map or something? Or are we just following him?
you're pretty much just following this. There's only really one pass up through these mountains.
Yeah, but you must have a mini map to show us or something so we can see how close we're getting to these creatures. Are we going to wind towards them, away, so we can be prepared?
Basically, as far as you can tell, there's been points where the path has got further away from them or more towards where they are, but they've pretty much kept the same distance from you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look as though, like I say, it doesn't look like they're in one place and you're getting closer to them or further away from them. It's like they are staying about the same distance from you, but moving along with you.
Yep.
They are following us. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Exactly, that's whatever.
Okay. I am going to ask, right, so Yazid is not at disadvantage on this. Everybody else is.
Oh, right.
Because of the just because of the way the altitude is starting to get to you. If everybody can make me a perception check.
19.
Oh, hang on.
21.
Did you roll twice?
Oh,
You're
am I rolling
Charlie.
twice? Am I?
No,
Yeah,
you're not.
I did.
You're not. But Charlie, you need to roll twice because you're at disadvantage. So that would be a 13.
Plus my perception of 1, is it, or 2? Plus 2.
Okay, so you got 15. Simon, what did you get?
19 plus 3, so 22 again.
Okay, 22. Ollie, you got
19.
19. Okay. Belle, do you want to make a perception check?
11.
Okay. So yeah, you guys head out and work your way up the trail, and I think pretty much everybody's eyes, especially Rashid's, are drawn to the creatures.
Just watching how the creatures are moving.
Mm-hmm.
Are they moving in a kind of birds of prey style? In that they're kind of looking like they found a prey. Are they doing that thing which hawks do when you get one hawk trying to distract prey?
Make me.
Are they using diversionary tactics on us?
Sorry, son?
Are they using diversionary tactics on us?
That's kind of what you're asking, isn't it?
More just trying to use, I don't know quite what knowledge Rashid would have.
Survival.
Yeah,
Um,
survival.
You are at disadvantage, so you're going to have to roll
Roll
twice and pick the lower.
cool. Survival 2. Oh, there it is.
Or you could roll nature if you've got a stronger skill in nature.
Nope.
Be the same, I imagine.
Yeah.
Too far away for insight.
Okay, my lowest was 7.
Okay. It's kind of difficult to tell.
Yep.
They are circling. They are definitely circling, but they don't seem to be circling particularly over one. They seem to be circling over one area. So you know the way and I mean they're circling rather than hovering. The way a kestrel will hover, and then when it realises that actually it hasn't got anything, it will fly off to somewhere else. They're
Yeah.
kind of doing that, but there's kind of 4 or 5 of them circling, or not necessarily circling in one large circle, but just
So
kind of
kind
catching
of-
thermals.
Kind of vulture-ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, about mid-morning.
Louis, sorry, before we carry on, can I summon my Gen?
Yes.
And say to her, I wanted to go and get a spell if we're attacked by the flying things. Kind of like preload it a bit. So not that it's going to get the spell now, but the minute it sees them attacking, it goes off to get the spell.
Okay. What spell do you want it to get?
Wall of Fire.
Wall of Fire. Okay.
It's a 4th level spell.
If they attack, we'll roll for it then. But yeah, no, that's great. That's you've given him advance notice. You're keeping him about. Okay. Kind of mid-morning. Actually, no, late morning. What Yazid spots on the path up ahead first is you see some kind of it looks like some kind of creatures just off to the left-hand side of the path, off amongst the rocks. They don't appear to be moving. It might be that they're trying to hide. You're not quite sure, but there's definitely, it's just, you know, when you look at something, you think, okay, that's not just a stone. That's the wrong shape and the wrong texture. There's definitely some kind of fur involved.
Okay. Who's the closest fighter to me?
Dunno.
All right, Ollie, high or low?
Hi.
Roll a d6. Bell?
Sorry, yes?
Roll a d6.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Come to me, D6.
You need to go and commune with the Force fairly soon.
1.
Not high.
1. Okay. Rashid is the closest fighter to you.
Okay, I am going to gesture at the creatures in question and very quietly sort of like whisper to Rashid, it looks like there's creatures over there trying to plant an ambush.
Okay.
Great.
Yep.
You're a warrior, you're meant to know this kind, you're meant to know what to do.
The paladins, not the same thing.
Yep. Okay, so sorry, focusing on ground.
Okay, so you guys are working your way up this kind of rocky
So
path.
can I do a thermaturgy and cause minor tremors?
You can if you really want to.
Well, I'll probably shake them out of their hiding place. They're harmless, but it'll shake the ground for a minute.
Okay, what's the range on that?
30 feet.
Okay.
Are they close enough?
Not yet.
Oh, well, I'll wait until they're close enough if they haven't moved.
Okay. They are definitely not moving. In fact, at the moment, you haven't spotted them. Simon's the only one that spotted them. Sorry, Yazid's the only one that spotted them. And he's
Pointed it to Rashid.
Only
but that's
pointed
it.
him out so far to
Yep.
Rashid. He's trying to do it quietly and.
So Rashid will probably have a look over and see if he can spot them to begin with.
Okay, once.
Weird hand movements to tell us it's coming.
I'll start slowing down or speeding up or do whatever, so that I'm then also riding beside the side of Anwar, and I'll point them out to Anwar as well.
Okay. You can, once you've pointed them out to people, people can see it. They're only kind of 200 yards ahead, something like that, on the left, in amongst the rocks. Yeah, once you're looking at them, you also reckon there's another one slightly further up, slightly higher up to the left, but they're definitely not moving.
Do they look alive? Can I chuck a rock at one of them or a stone or something? Not like a massive rock, but
You can. You probably have to get off your camel unless you carry stones routinely on you.
How big are they? Before you just
If we got some guess at how
It's
far away
difficult.
they are and how big the rocks are.
Yeah, it's difficult to work out how big they are because they're in amongst rocks.
right.
how
But
big are the rocks they're amongst, which should give us a size idea.
Yeah. Wookiees are
yeah,
evil.
well, it's more a case of there's rocks and you can see bits, but it's not like you can see a whole creature. It's like
Got you. Okay.
if you put
Right.
somebody behind a rock and there's an arm sticking out, you're sitting there going,
Yeah.
well, is that a person or a snake?
Yeah.
If your eyesight's particularly bad.
Yeah.
But they're definitely, the closer you get to them, the less you think they are moving. They are definitely holding extremely still. And also, the closer you get to them, the more you realise, yeah, there's definitely some fur, but it doesn't look like all fur.
Right.
Shall we try Shall we try whistling at them?
You could. I'm not going to make you. I'm not going to make you give me a whistle roll at disadvantage.
Or shout or something. Yeah.
Okay, so Rashid whistles out. There is no movement whatsoever. There's not even any shuffling around within what would probably be a group.
I suspect Simon's character that they are. Yes, thank you. I'm sorry, I apologise. I'm on some medication at the moment, folks, which means my brain is officially buzzed and is not working any longer.
So, how far away are these creatures?
There we go.
They were about 200 feet away when you started. How far do you want to be from them when you want to? You tell me how far you approach them, how close you approached
We're
them
going
before.
at a nice slow place. I would say we're in at 200 feet. We've probably moved about 40, 50 feet.
Okay,
We're not
yeah.
at a fast pace. At this point, I'm going to send my gen off for that spell.
Okay, roll me a percentage.
Oops, sorry, wrong one.
I thought it was 70%.
Oh,
Oh,
35.
over that one.
I was going to say, it's a 4th level spell and you're a 4th level Shire, aren't you? And I did
Fourth
get that
level
out.
Shire, 4th level spell. No, I didn't get away with it. No, it's a 3rd level. Is it 3rd level or 4th level? 4th level. Didn't get away with it. 5% over.
Okay, the gen scurries off, but your camels are slowly plodding closer to it. I think also it's probably one that's going to take you minutes rather than rounds for it to turn up. Nabil is still there if you want Nabil to do something.
can we send Barbosa ahead?
It's a D6 plus 4, Louis. Do you want me to roll it?
No, it's all right. I'll leave it. I'll leave it. It's a couple of minutes.
Okay. Yazid's deliberately going to slow down because he wants to make sure he's got this bloody spell before he goes anywhere near them.
Okay.
Anwar's going to fairly strongly suggest that we stop the camels.
Okay, you guys stop the camels.
And we'll head to the front of the party. Be a good idea.
Okay, I'm kind of guessing that you were already there before you stopped
Alright.
before you
Probably,
stopped. Certainly,
but-
kind of Yazid was definitely sort of towards the front because that's how he managed to see them.
Well, I'm joining to see what they're looking at.
Okay, so you guys are all looking at these guys from about 150 feet away. You reckon these are the more you look at them, if you're actually kind of studying them from a distance, they look as though they are probably they look vaguely humanoid, but they are really, really not moving. But there is definitely there's definitely some kind of fur involved.
I do not suspect these are alive. Or
How far away are they now?
About 150 feet from you.
Okay, off the camel.
Okay. So Anwar dismounts. The camel gets down on its knees and he clambers off.
Kind of looking around at the others, kind of like
yeah, but
get closer, but not on the camel.
yes,
Okay, we'll get off the camel then.
Rashid will be hopping off.
We lose
Yeah,
part of our-
Yazid will get off the camel.
Are we going to lose
Okay.
part of our visibility of these creatures by getting off the camel and losing our height?
You're not going to be able to see them quite as well, but you know
We know where they are now.
where they are.
Okay.
A camel's not a warhorse, so
No, but it is a vantage point at this range.
But when you say they're not a warhorse, they're you would ride. Several of the guards are carrying two of the guards are carrying lances, which they could use from camelback.
I'm got a great sword which I can't really use from camelback. So
No. But in terms of
but yes, no, you could use them as a war camel, but maybe we couldn't use them as a war camel.
I feel like that's a fair assumption.
Speak for yourself, they run fast.
Rashid could
I was gonna
definitely
say
use them as a
she
war
probably could
camel.
actually,
Oh,
but
that's a very, very good point, yes.
You can start on the camel and
Rashid's
I'll-
done this before. Rashid will stay
Rashid-
mounted.
Rashid gets advantage on animal handling checks whilst riding camels.
Rashid will be staying mounted.
okay,
I've
so
got a plus
Rashid.
2 animal handling as well, so I don't know if that helps, but no.
Well, if we've Rashid just looking at the things, so if they suddenly start moving,
They can tell us, yeah.
he can tell us.
Okay, I'll
So-
hop off as well.
Okay.
And he can
so-
charge him with the camelry. If
Camelry. Yeah.
Yeah, me.
Oh,
That was bad.
yeah.
Someone deserves brains chopped off.
Yeah, slowly moving towards these things.
Okay. So you just keep approaching them until either they move or something happens, yeah?
Yeah.
Is
basically.
anybody else going with him, or is Anwar just on his own sort of roll?
I've already stated what I'm doing.
Yep, you're staying back, waiting for your gen to reappear.
I'll go with him.
Yeah, Rashid will accompany.
Okay,
What, on the camel or not?
On camel, why not?
okay. So you guys work your way down, and when you get about 40 foot from them, you are you start to realise that the other thing that you can see is quite a lot of red. And you suddenly realise you are almost certainly looking at bodies.
Yay!
So are you going to carry on approaching?
No.
How close are we now?
Say 30 feet away?
Anwar turns and says, "Where are the birds?"
Okay, you can just about make out the birds from where you are, and they are about the same distance that they always have been.
Okay.
They're not getting any closer.
Okay.
Make me a perception check, but again, you have got disadvantage on ability
disadvantage.
checks, so
13.
Okay. Yeah, they are pretty much the same distance that they were. You're not seeing anything very different. What you do suddenly spot is there's another 2 in the air.
Okay. And what would probably call to Yazid, whoever's still further back, keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
Take your
Okay.
needle, keep your eye on them.
Yeah.
Well, Nabil's also next to him.
Oh yeah, Nabil's there.
Yeah, Nabil starts to prep magic missile. Because that's got probably the longest range of any of his spells.
Yeah.
So yeah, Nabil preps magic missile, and is keeping an eye on the flying things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So are we going to go a bit closer and check out these things are dead?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the
Rush, are you going to hop off the camel now?
Why not?
okay. So the as you get closer, you become more and more convinced that yeah, these are
Ex-furry things.
these are yeah. These are definitely dead. In particular, there's one about 20 foot up above them on a cliff ledge, and you realise there's blood dripping down, or has dripped. It's now dried, but there's blood spilling down from it.
Going off my could I do an animal handling roll to try and work out whether the birds might be circling around this in that kind of bizarre fashion I was thinking about earlier?
They're not. They're not.
Okay, cool.
You've been travelling. I mean, you've been travelling for nearly a day.
Very good point. Is there any way we can try and work out how long these have been here for, and whether it might be birds which have killed them? So
Okay.
looking for... Sorry, two different
There
things.
is no. That's fine. There is. There's dried blood on the quite a lot of dried blood on the cliff face. So there's one or maybe 2 of these things up there, and then there's 3 or 4 at the lower down, closer to the trail. They look like some kind of cross between a hyena and a human. They're humanoid, but they've got kind of hyena-like heads. Looks like they're wearing some kind of leather armor, but sticking out of at least 3 of the ones close to you are multiple javelins that are broken and but there's also, as you get closer to them, there's rent marks in them, swords or possibly claws or talons or something of that nature.
Did they have any weapons?
There are no weapons that you can see. You'd have to get kind of fairly close to them to work
Right.
out.
Do these things look similar to the lycanthropes we engaged with?
No.
Okay.
No, there's definitely a difference. These are the lycanthropes that you fought were more like actual hyenas,
Yeah.
or
These are more of a cross
people.
between.
These are definitely a cross.
Okay, I'm possibly going beyond my character's knowledge here, but is it possible to try and work out whether you're saying there are lots of lances?
Yeah.
How long are the lances? So the thought process going behind there.
No, javelins rather than
Javelins.
lances.
Javelins, okay, so they're fairly short, so they could have been thrown by flying things. Also, looking at the angles which the javelins have landed, does it look like they came from
above.
Yep. Because what my thought process there is, you can tell if they've been fired, or sorry, if they've been thrown en masse and arced, or
I hate to ask you to do this, given that you're going to have to do it at disadvantage, but make me an investigation roll.
with a 0. Awesome, I can do that.
And actually, if Charlie and Ollie, if you guys want to make an investigation roll as well,
I
I'm
want to
right.
find
that's
out
cool. But you
how
are,
long ago, looking at the blood and other bits.
you are at disadvantage, so you need to roll twice and take the lower.
Yeah, never
I've
mind.
done that already. That.
Just so you can admire my first roll.
Oh, nice.
Add 2, so 11.
Okay.
And a 20 was my highest roll. 19 was my lowest.
Nice.
I got a 1, so that compensates.
Okay. Right. So Anne was trying to work out, exactly where the
His eyes are, yeah.
no, he's trying to work out where the bodies end and the
Yeah.
and the rocks start. No, I mean to be fair, Anne was constantly just looking up, trying to make sure that but from where you are when you get this close, you can't actually see the flying things that you've been looking at.
It's a bit of a strategical nightmare, and he's not happy with it.
Yeah. So, Yusef, you are pretty sure these javelins came in from high up, and so they've definitely been thrown from a height. The other thing that you realise is that several of them are in the backs of the creatures. Some of them have hit the creatures in the front, but several have hit them in the back.
They're running.
Now, what Rashid realizes is these guys were coming down the cliff. They've been heading towards the path, and they've been attacked from above. And so they've all got javelins in them, but some of them have also got big, nasty, rending wounds, and those look possibly like claws, but could very, 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 very easily be talons. So they've been attacked both using weapons, but also with some kind of clawed attack or taloned attack. The other thing is that there are no. I'm trying to work out. Okay, to go into meta, which I don't like doing, but would any of your guys know what a knoll was?
No.
That is
No.
what you just found. Okay,
Jafar probably would, but he's not here.
he's not here.
Um,
Yeah.
Rashid actually may well do, because he's got an excellent memory for maps and geography, and can always recall the general layout of terrain, settlements, and other features around me.
If anyone does, it'd probably be
Does it?
Rashid, but
Desert Rider, I'll give it to Rashid. So Rashid at the very least has heard stories of gnolls,
yeah,
and you're fairly sure that's what these are. What you realise is
not as much.
they've got no pouches with them. They've got no. They're wearing their armour, but they're not carrying weapons, which is unusual. They've got no pouches on them. It looks almost like the bodies have been stripped clean and then just left. The armour's not really any use to anybody because it's been carved in and cut and is covered in gnoll blood.
My next question. Do these bodies look like they have died where they've fallen, or do they look like they've been dropped from a height or moved?
They look like they've died where they've been fallen. There's also a couple of big rocks quite close to them, which have got blood on them, which
Okay.
might have been dropped on them.
So it suggests, therefore, and Rashid is probably wondering about this aloud. So therefore, these look like they're being killed from above. I would suggest that it could well be talons, these marks here. I suggest they've died where they've lain, but their bodies have been stripped clean. So therefore, possibly they've been robbed. I don't see any sign that these flying creatures, which is what I'm assuming, will have killed these gnolls. They don't seem to take them away for eating or anything like that. There have been no attempts at mutilation, so it looks like it's been pure robbery. Or the gnoll attacked the harpies for some reason, but it looks like the gnoll have been fleeing.
It would be possible, given where they're coming from, perhaps these creatures have a nest or something. Maybe the gnolls tried to take something and
Yep.
were attacked. The alternative is they would just attack themselves. Either way, I do not think we should stay here any longer.
I'd agree with that. And I think we can certainly state that these flying creatures are unfriendly.
Indeed. Back to the
Definitely
camels.
certainly like the gnolls.
Sorry, what was
Okay,
that?
so you guys saddling up and heading out, yeah?
Getting out of there.
Yep. Can please change... Well, Rashid will suggest changing formation slightly, making sure that the caravans are in the centre, so in the most defensive location.
Yeah.
That stuff.
Okay, yeah. So you guys saddle up again. Eventually, Yazid's Jen comes back, and you guys head off further up the path. It's starting to ease off a bit, the height gain now.
We're getting out of breath again.
Yeah, the camels are doing all right. Those of you that got down off your camels are definitely relieved to be back on them and be plodding up the hills, to be plodding up on camelback. But yes, the rest of the afternoon, the flying creatures are keeping pretty much the same distance from you. But by the time that you camp that night, you have a feeling that probably they're starting to get slightly further away, which is definitely a relief. You also realise that you're actually pretty much at the top of the pass. So evening comes just as you're starting to work your way back down slightly from the height that you were on, and you can see below you the path still winds down through the mountains, but ahead of you, probably half a day's travel, there's a plateau that opens up between two ranges of mountains, and that's coming up. So you've come from Talv. Obviously, you can't see my mouse. You've come from Talv, and you are starting to head down onto this plateau between the two lines of steep peaks.
Okay. Rashid would suggest setting up camp prior to that plateau, because that plateau looks very open and easy killing ground from creatures on high.
You're not going to, by the time you get to dusk... Hello, what happened? Thought I'd gone back to that, but I hadn't. By the time you get to dusk, you've still probably got half a day's travel before you get to the plateau, so...
Okay, that's fine then.
So yeah, you guys set up camp again.
Again,
Same.
trying to keep somewhere roughly with high stuff over.
Yeah. You managed to find a place that's fairly defendable. You can get a fire going in a dell again, just in in a hollow off to one side by one of the cliffs. So you set up camp, spend the night. Again, probably fairly paranoid, listening to what's going on about. Sorry, Charlie, should we try and mute him for a minute?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's better.
That's better.
That's definitely better.
Well, the fact we can't hear Charlie anymore. Sorry.
Yeah, so you guys you guys spend the night, and again, there's no actual disturbance overnight. You can hear things moving around, but there's probably just kind of rodent life in and amongst the hills, or the cliffs. And in the morning, when you go to check, the winged creatures are nowhere to be seen. So you guys descend the rest of the path, and you come out into again a fairly sparse area, but it's not too bad, and it's a wide open plateau that spreads out to the it sort of runs sort of west southwest to east northeast, and off in the distance, about probably you should get there that evening. If you just head straight there, you can see a small walled village, sort of close to the beginnings of the next set of hills that lead up into the range there. And if that's good for you guys, I think that's probably not a bad place to leave it tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll go offline, not just hang up.